Our sub battle continues all month long here on Ravens Rundown as we are looking to beat Bengals breakdown and subs, and they're starting to pull away a little bit here, folks. We got some work to do to catch up and win this sub battle this month to prove why the flock are not only the best fans in the AFC North, but the best fans in the National Football League. Subscribe now to Ravens Rundown for the latest happenings in your favorite team all offseason long with daily news and rumors. Also bringing you breaking news, analysis, and more. Subscribe now, lock us in, and we'll get started with today's show. Is the NFL screwing with the flock? Well, welcome into this edition of Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. I am Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. And on today's show, we're breaking down the recent frustrations with the Baltimore Ravens schedule heading into 2024. Last week, we got the full schedule. We already knew the opponents, but now we know how things stack up as far as when the Ravens are playing certain teams and also what times the matchups are and how it all shakes out. And let's just say that not only have we heard from a lot of Ravens fans with frustration, but reports from CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones of frustration within the building among the Baltimore Ravens front office. Check this out from Jonathan Jones. It was really unique that they wanted everyone to know that, hey, this is a tough slate. Yeah, we are happy with some of these primetime games. We anticipate to be great again, but there are a couple things that we subtly want to note. So, what are those things that are really grinding folks' gears about what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens in their upcoming schedule? First off, they are playing 10 games versus 2023 playoff teams. That is the most of anybody in the National Football League. Now, granted, it is worth noting that the matchups are set by a system that was already in place, so that's not the NFL directly screwing the Ravens necessarily. And the same can be said by this statistic, 12 games versus teams 500 or better in 2023. That's the most in the NFL. But here's where we start to get to the nitty-gritty, folks. The Ravens have not one, but two games on Thursday Night Football. So short weeks, and you think about it too, there's a very small number of teams that get stuck with two games on Thursday night, and then a Saturday game as well. So you're looking at, what, 3 short weeks there for Baltimore? It gets worse. You got 2 Monday Night Football games, and that's all in well, having Joe Buck and the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman on the call, but they're both on the road. The Ravens pointed out in this email they sent to the media that in their last 22 Monday Night Football games of the John Harbaugh era, 18 of them have been on the road now. And then you got the Christmas game, which comes on a Wednesday afternoon on Netflix, another streaming service as well, so that isn't great for fans. But all in all, this isn't an ideal situation, to say the least. And then, to take it a step further than that, folks, the Ravens have the second toughest schedule with an opponent's combined 2023 win percentage of nearly 55% for this upcoming year. That's an overall record of 155 and 134. So I say all this to say, the NFL did the Ravens no favors with their schedule, right? It is tough. But having 7 nationally televised games, and there could be more as we see games get flexed potentially later on the season to Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football and all that, that's a major compliment. The Ravens, sure, they got a tough schedule, but the NFL is acknowledging, saying, hey, the Ravens, the show you guys put on with Lamar Jackson and company, that's worth showcasing for the rest of the National Football League. So you get the good with the bad. And here's the other deal. It could be worse. The Ravens aren't playing any international games this year. There's no trip overseas. You're not going to Brazil or anything like that. So while I understand the frustrations, believe me, folks, it could be worse. Let's ask you guys. Did the Ravens screw the Ravens with this schedule? Speak your mind in the comments section. Let us know in our pinned comment today. Y for yes, N for no. Did the Ravens get screwed? Chime in and let us know what you think. One player that we're all excited about this upcoming season for your Baltimore Ravens is Nate Wiggins, the Ravens' first-round pick at number 30 overall out of the University of Clemson. I think he's going to be a star in the National Football League at the corner position. We got his jerseys available on sale now at chatsports.com/Wiggins, whether it's the home purple, the alternate black, the road white. We got it all. We got men's and women's sizes available for you. Go see for yourself at chatsports.com/Wiggins. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. You also might stumble upon some free shipping. Be on the lookout for that as well. Go see for yourself. chatsports.com/Wiggins. Here's my takeaways from the Ravens schedule of all 17 games. Number one, you have some early tests against some very good quarterbacks right from the jump, right? We are going to see this team tested right from the jump. We'll know how good the Ravens are immediately. Week 1, a road matchup against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 3, on the road against Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys. Dak coming off the best season of his career so far. Josh Allen and the Bills, Week 4. We've seen some really good games over the years between Lamar and Josh Allen. Oh, yeah, and then there's Joe Burrow, who we anticipate should be fully healthy entering 2024 after an injury-riddled 2023 season. So that is a gauntlet to begin the season. But it doesn't end there, folks. The matchups between weeks 10 and 3, in the words of Big Tex, damn brutal, folks. I mean, it is going to be a juggernaut, if you will, for the Ravens in that stretch. You begin with the matchup week 10 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's a Thursday night game at home. And then you take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, and it's always tough when you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the Steelers are going to be an improved team in 2024. And then you get the Harbaugh Bowl against the LA Chargers, and I don't think the Chargers are going to be that great, if I'm going to be honest with you, but you're taking on Jim on the other side. It's a primetime game, and it's still Justin Herbert. So even with that said, and going cross-country in Los Angeles, that'll be something to watch for. And then you do all that only to turn around and take on the Philadelphia Eagles there in Week 13. So I got to tell you, just looking at that, I mean, it is going to be quite the test for what the Ravens go through in that stretch. You get a late bye Week 14, and that could be good, that could be bad for the Baltimore Ravens because – yes, you get a chance to reset before the final playoff push, but that's a long time without rest for these players to heal up injuries and all that. And we've seen the Ravens have a good track record, though, when it comes off the bye, as John Harbaugh, since he's been the Ravens coach, has a 13-3 overall record in the regular season coming off a bye week. So the silver lining could be a potential good chance to reset there as you move towards that playoff push. I expect the AFC North to be coming down to the wire, as you have 4 playoff caliber teams in this division when you talk about Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, and it could be shaping up to be a photo finish, as the Ravens will see all of these teams in the final stretch, as 4 of your last 8 games are against divisional opponents. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh again a few weeks later, and then Cleveland, Week 18. And then, one more for you, my scheduled takeaways. What a tough turnaround that the Ravens are being asked to do late in this season, not only having to play that Saturday game against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, which will be nationally televised. That's a game on the Big Fox network. But then a couple days later, on a Wednesday, going to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. That is going to be something, folks, of what the Ravens are dealt with. They were given no favors with how some of these matchups stack up. So let's ask you, before we run through the whole Ravens schedule, what is the game you're most looking forward to from your Baltimore Ravens in 2024? An exciting slate ahead. That's the one thing, folks. Although the schedule is tough, we are going to be seeing some exciting must-see games all year for your Baltimore Ravens. What is the game that catches your eye the most? Let us know in the comment section below. Before we go, let's go ahead and run through the Ravens schedule one last time. The Ravens will open up against the Kansas City Chiefs on opening night in Kansas City. That's on a Thursday. Then they will follow it up with a matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders for their home opener. Then it's the road trip to Dallas to take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys on September 22nd. They'll wrap up the month of September against the Buffalo Bills there in a home game. That'll be on Sunday Night Football. They'll begin the month of October on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals to wrap up that tough stretch of quarterback play in the opening 5 weeks of the season. Then it is a local rivalry as the Ravens will face the Commanders on October 13th at home. That'll be followed up by a road matchup on Monday Night Football against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Ravens have seen a lot of Baker over the years. Then they will play the Cleveland Browns to wrap up the month of October on the road on October 27th, just before Halloween. They'll begin the month in November against Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos on November 3rd. And then the next matchup will be a few days later, a Thursday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals on November 7th. As the schedule continues through, the Ravens will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on November 17th on the road. That's followed up by a road matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. And then as the Ravens try to make it a December to remember, they will open up the month against the Philadelphia Eagles at home on December 1st. Bye week to follow after that. Then they'll face the New York Giants on December 15th. And then they wrap up their final stretch, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on December 21st. The Christmas game against the Houston Texans there on December 25th. And then they'll wrap up the regular season against the Cleveland Browns. That date and time still be determined. We won't know that till just prior to Week 18. So you can see, even when the Ravens have matchups against lowly opponents like the Denver Broncos, the very next week, they're playing a tough game again. So really just no favors at all throughout this schedule. How will the record shape out for the Baltimore Ravens in 2024? Predict it for me in the comments section. I got my record prediction video up on the channel, so you can go see that after you're done watching this video to see what my record prediction is. But want to hear from you guys. Let us know. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now to the channel. Lock us in for the latest happenings on your favorite team all off season long. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.